Hey everyone, welcome to the results video of the Log Flume contest. Now, in this contest everybody had to create a Log Flume. The maximum map size was 35 by 35 tiles. And every player also had to have a steep part in their Log Flume, like you can see right over here. Now, we had 29 finished entries. So I will just start with the one that got last place, and I'll finish by announcing the winner of the round. Okay, in last place we have this entry from a newcomer on my server, Queen of Napping. So there's this Log Flume. I believe this here is the station. Then it travels right here into the mountain, little turnaround here. Then there's a bit of a section that's underground here. And then after that it travels above land again. Then goes off the waterfall here and back into the station. Now, something I actually like is the usage of the river rapids track here to make this splash section. That looks pretty cool. Also kind of like the big trees here. But yeah, when you make a big tree, usually it's a good idea to make it look a little bit more random rather than yeah, this looks quite blocky. So that's usually I don't think that's a really good idea. Something else that kind of stood out to me here a bit was the foliage here. Yeah, it kind of looks a little bit messy. It's when you do foliage like this, it's usually a good idea to mix up the ground textures a bit more. And also, yeah, I think one issue with this area is that there's really too many kinds of trees and plants used here, and it kind of looks messy. It's probably a good idea to make it look a little bit more dense. Right now, it doesn't really look very appealing to me. One other thing is for the waterfalls. I really like the path here in front of the waterfall, but the waterfall itself is very straight, and a real waterfall will not look like that. So when you make a waterfall, it's usually a good idea to make it a little bit less regular, make it a little bit more irregular. I actually made a tutorial on how to make nice waterfalls once, so I definitely recommend checking that out. Okay, here's the entry from Low Poly Surf. So there's this big Log Flume here with two big drops. Actually kind of like how we did the lift hill here with the wooden coaster track. I don't think many people used that. But yeah, quite an interesting layout. Also kind of like the landscaping that was done here. Like a big mountain here, of course. There's also Entertainer up Duckling, King of Red Mountain. I'm not gonna argue with that. So junior coaster here which travels over the Log Flume. Yeah, there's a few issues I think with this map. First of all, it's kind of sparsely decorated, mostly a landscape. And yeah, those entries usually don't really do very well, mostly because they often lack a real eye catcher. Something else that usually doesn't do very well is a launched freefall like this, which is kept in the default colors. It just looks a little bit lazy, and there's probably nicer color schemes you can make rather than the default ones. As for the Log Flume, yeah, a huge drop here. But yeah, I think actually the splash area, the runoff area, is quite alright. Something that is a little bit weird though is this bridge that goes over it, which doesn't actually lead to anywhere. You'd probably want to extend the path just to make it actually go somewhere rather than just sit over the splash area here. But still, the fact that there is actually a bridge here does actually make for some good interaction, I think, between the path and the flume. Okay, here we have the entry from Venom Doe. Yeah, you made this this area which kind of looks Russian. I believe it was called Klinkgrad. These big rusty buildings, a dueling Log Flume. I believe this is the only dueling Log Flume. Not really sure. Yeah, it's an interesting layout with these stations that go in opposite directions, and yeah, the Log Flumes meet up here. Then there's a long straight path here where they go backwards. And finally both of them drop back into the water. Now this end of the Log Flume actually has some interaction here with a little bridge going over it. right over here. Well, yeah, there's a bit of a cutout here. I think it would have been nice if there was also a little bridge over it here. But still, I think the interaction is quite nice. I also really like how the bridge here was done with these arches. Now, for the rest, yeah, I think the map's a little bit sparsely decorated. Probably could have used some more eye catchers right next to the paths here, just to make it stand out a little bit more. Alright, here's the entry from Dave. He made a kappa here with some of these Japanese symbols, I believe. I really love this little temple that he made here. Some other Japanese buildings here, and this Log Flume which travels throughout the map. He actually put some of this arm sea track right under it to make supports for the Log Flume. I think that looks quite cool. Now for the map itself, again, I think it's a little bit sparsely decorated. It probably could have used some more standout temples, something like that. But still, I do like the little buildings that he actually made. For this building, probably would have been nice if he actually filled in the gap here with some diagonal track. Or some stuff like he actually also did here for this building. I do like the layering here in this building with this zigzag pattern. For the paths, it probably would have been nice if the paths looked a little bit more organic. So maybe with some double path here and there. Yeah, just to make it look a little bit more natural. But still, overall, I don't think this is a bad entry, and I like the way this Log Flume looks. Okay, here's the entry from Butto. He made this Log Flume here in the middle. Actually, kind of looks like the layout that a wooden coaster, for example, could have. Now, the station is, I believe it's somewhere over here inside this building. Then it comes out here. First there's a small drop here, then there's a big lift hill. Yeah, so there's a big lift hill here, then there's this big double drop here, another big lift hill, and then the giant drop before it returns back to the station. I think for a Log Flume, what you usually see is that the last drop is the biggest drop, and the other drops are typically much smaller. That a layout like that would probably make more sense for a Log Flume. But yeah, the choice was made here to do this. But still, I think it's quite an interesting layout, and I really like the way it passes by all these buildings here. That's pretty nice. Not sure why there's no one in this roto drop. Maybe they can't reach it, I don't know. Something else that I really liked was this sunken ship here. That's also pretty cool. But yeah, I think what this map really lacks is a real eye catcher. And these buildings are all alright, but they maybe look a little bit bland. Also, their windows are all really dark. It doesn't really seem very inviting, if you know what I mean. But still, I think this is an interesting entry for the Log Flume map. Something else that I did quite like was these... oh, I cannot find them anymore. There were some lanterns here. I think I can see them from this angle. Oh yeah, they're over here. There's these cables here with these lanterns on top, made of gumdrops. I think that's a really interesting choice. Probably would have been nice if the map had more of that sort of stuff here. Just to add some detail to the area here. Okay, here's the entry from Real Steel. Now he recreated Chiapas, the Log Flume from Fantasialand. Now he used a lot of base blocks here to try and recreate all the structures that the Log Flume travels through. Now I kind of like the way he did the landscaping here, also with these waterfalls, these buildings here. I'm not really a big fan of this outside area here. I usually don't like just having these thin steeplechase rails to guide a Log Flume or a river rapids ride. So not really sure if it's a good idea to make the water here so deep. I mean, it's an amusement park, so probably you can just keep it very shallow here. Now I do like that he made the airtime hill that the real Log Flume also has. I also really like this diagonal bridge here that passes over the Log Flume. That's pretty cool. And something else that I also liked was this little cutout here where you can actually look inside. Now he actually used he actually kept the Log Flume in shuttle mode, and to make it turn around he actually yeah, made it just reverse on the end of track. And because of that, there's a drop here, and the boats actually go down it very slowly. That's probably because of it, the ride being in shuttle mode, and the boats actually reversing this way. But yeah, definitely go check out this entry for yourself. It's quite interesting. Okay, here's the entry from Euron. He made a little island with the Log Flume on top. Now, I think this island is really charming, kind of like a moon-shaped island. So yeah, the Log Flume is quite a big part of the island, and there's also a shuttle coaster going around here. Well, actually just a mine train coaster, which actually has a reversing element. Not really sure about the color of the mine train coaster. This orange is really not one of my favorite colors. Not really sure if it works nicely here. Probably would have been nice to just have it brown like this. I think this looks much better and goes much better with the rest of the colors. But yeah, that's of course just my opinion. Now I do kind of like the layout of this Log Flume. I like how it travels over the top of the island here and then splashes down right next here to the waterfall, and actually goes under the path here just to provide some nice interaction. Large runoff area before it then returns back to the station. Also like the pirate scenery decorations here. Yeah, I think this is a really nice little island. What I think would have made it even better was to also make it a little bit deeper here in these parts, give it some rocky texture, put some plants, maybe some ruins underwater. I think there would have been a lot of opportunity for nice underwater stuff here. Maybe some sharks swimming around, that kind of stuff. Okay, here's the entry from Whacked. Now once again he ran out of time while building his entry. He thought he had a day extra. So that's why this castle that you see here looks completely unfinished. And that's probably what mostly hurt his score. Because the Log Flume, yeah, I really like the way the Log Flume looks. I like how he used the black track here for the Log Flume to make it look like a conveyor belt pulling it up. Also like the bobsleigh track that he put around it. Probably to catch the water that the boats would otherwise splash to the side of the track. So yeah, that's nice. Also a nice little layout, and of course the final splash, which takes it through this castle. Some good interaction here with the path as well. So yeah, there's just really nice stuff throughout the map. All these little nice buildings, eating areas. Just the stuff that Whacked loves to build. So yeah, that's why it's a shame that it's not really finished in the end. So yeah, I really hope Whacked actually finishes his entry in the next round. Okay, here's the entry from Kazulias. No, this is a really dense entry full of nice jungle scenery. I love the way he made these waterfalls here. So yeah, this is really nice. I also really like how he made the path here. Looks like some nice interaction, some nice viewing areas where the cats can actually see the splash. I think that's really good. Also some nice interaction with the other ride with the coaster. Some nice custom supports for the coaster as well. Also a sphinx here in the middle of the Log Flume. Not really sure why you would put a sphinx in a jungle setting. Now for the layout of the Log Flume, I think it's quite nice. There's 25 boats, so that's also a good number. Not really sure about this section of the track here with the waterfall. I mean, to me it looks like the boats would just get stuck here at the side, because the water would be, yeah, sucking them and trying to pull them down river. So yeah, not really sure how this would work. But still, realism aside, I think this is pretty cool. Also a huge drop for the Log Flume. Maybe a little bit too big, but still, I think it looks really cool. I really like the way it travels over the waterfall here. That's done really nicely. So yeah, what can I say? I think this is a really nice job from Kazulias. Alright, here's the entry from the Shack. He made this big Log Flume here in this, well, I'd call it a bit of a unusual landscape. Because there's all these red rock well, these red rock, these wind sculpted pieces here with a jungle on top. Now that's a combination you don't see very often. It's a really cool coaster going around throughout the map here. Here I think the colors actually work quite well, because it's kind of like this rusty red, which contrasts well with the green that's used here, and also has the same color as these wind sculpted pieces. So that's quite nice. Log Flume, well, yeah, it also travels throughout the map. The layout of the Log Flume, however, was a little bit weird, because the big drop of the Log Flume is over here, and then it still takes a long time for it to reach the station. Usually what you see in a Log Flume is that there's the big drop, and only shortly after that you get back into the station, because your guests could be soaked, so you really don't want them to be cold while while exiting the ride. Yeah, definitely some interesting buildings here. There's also a shark going around in this river. Not really sure why. But yeah, definitely a very interesting entry. Okay, here's the entry from Keduno. Now I have to stay zoomed out a bit, or else we cannot see the top of the mountain. Must have been quite annoying to actually build this. Maybe he actually expanded the map while building it, I don't know. But yeah, there's a RMC coaster that really goes to the top of this mountain and travels throughout the plot. Now I really like the colors and the look of this RMC. It's an interesting layout. The landscape here is also very intricate. Yeah, so I always like these maps with a lot of verticality, and these buildings are also quite nice. Not really sure if you should be able to see the ice from inside this building, but still, yeah, I think this it's a really nice map. These buildings may be a little bit too much the same, but yeah, still, this I think it's quite enjoyable to watch. This building probably could have used a little bit more detail. Now, as for the Log Flume, it's a very long ride. It's almost 8 minutes. It just winds back and forth all the time throughout this mountain. And it only has very few boats, only 7 boats for this entire ride. So yeah, that's also why the guests are in the queue for a very long time here. So yeah, probably would have been a nice idea to give it some extra boats also, so you will actually see some boats travel through the layout. Now here, finally at the end, there's this huge drop. But there's not actually any track here or barriers. So probably if there was a real Log Flume, the boats would just fly into the side, injuring the riders. So yeah, for a Log Flume, I would generally recommend to always actually put some track for the boats to travel through. But still, I think the landscaping in this entry was incredible. Alright, here's the entry from Herplext. Now, I actually forgot to include his entry in the voting pool, so it was only added later. So if you're on my Discord, if you have submitted an entry and after a deadline you don't have the role for the right creation contest and your name hasn't been announced, please just notify me and don't wait until the final voting poll has been posted to tell me these kind of things. Because yeah, to be honest, it's really at that point it becomes really annoying to still add your name to the voting poll. So please just check it in time. Now there were some things about this Log Flume that I really liked. These supports, I think they are really cool. Just these rotodrop supports with observation tower on top, some mini suspended coaster track in the middle. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I also really like the station, so it's one of those circular stations. And you actually put some monorails under it, just to make it look more like the platform is actually rotating. So that's really clever. That's a nice trick. So the Log Flume in this entry I thought was really nice. There's also some extra rides here. There were also some weird things in this entry. Well, first off, the paths are all single paths, and this is just a big square or big rectangle here around the map with an empty rim outside it. Yeah, trust me, your paths will look way nicer if they look more organic and definitely don't leave an empty rim around your map. So there's a strange path here right next to the log flume with trees growing through it. I'm not really sure what that's all about. Now also some other cool rides. Here's the go-karts. Personally I think these go-karts look a little bit too wide. Looks a bit like a sea of asphalt here. But this shoestrung ride here, these teacups, I think this is really cool. This must have taken quite some time to actually get this to run in a good way. Okay, here's the entry from Comrade Chris and Dark Oro. They made this really cool log flume in a sort of like an Asian theme. Now I love the way they did all the trees and gardens here, and this mini golf that's sits in the middle here. I think that just looks lovely. Also really like how they made these dirt paths for the mini golf. I think that actually works much better than the default path that you get with the mini golf. So yeah, that's I think that's really neat. There's also an extra coaster here, a weird boomerang. Personally, I'm not really fond of this one, but I do really like the way the station looks. So I really like the look of the station for the log flume. Yeah, that's just a really nice roof that they made here. Also a disco ride. I also love these Torii gates that they made here. This one's for the entrance of the park. Of course, something that Dark Oro really likes to do is also to make an outside rim of the park. I think that looks really nice. I love the way he did that. It's just it's a simple thing, but it's a really nice way to make your park stand out a little bit more. Now the log flume itself, I think it's also pretty nice. It's an interesting layout. Also love this lift structure that they made here. Yeah, not really much else to say about this log flume. Really nice work. Okay, here's the entry from DDD Rob. Something you will immediately see is this starry sky that he made here, and he actually put some yellow thingies that move, kind of like shooting stars. That's pretty cool. Now, also you can see this huge lizard thing here. It's kind of like the things you will find in Peru. These huge structures that can be seen from the sky. Also a guy walking around here, Matt the archaeologist. I really like this truck that they made here, this digging machine. So I really like this little campsite. Also some nice foliage around these areas. Something I really liked was the way they made this rotodrop. This actually looks like a tree, custom tree done really nicely. I really like the way that looks. Now here's also a nice log flume. So here's the station. I kind of like the way this roof is done here. That looks really nice. The log flume itself, I think it's also done in a nice way. There's some really cool supports for it. Also a little waterfall to douse the guests. And this final drop, I think it's also done in a nice way. The little rail inside the dinghy track. And of course some nice interaction with the path going over the big splash. There's also this super duper looper. I'm not really sure about this magic effect that they created here. Not really sure what it does here in this otherwise quite realistic entry. But yeah, overall I think he did a nice job on this entry. Okay, here's the entry from Fade83. He made this mining or this mine themed entry. A lot of black used here. So yeah, the log flume really is the main attraction of the park here. Now I love the way he decorated this ride. I love this little roof above the log flume for this section. Also some good interaction here with the paths and the log flume. Some nice decorations around it. Also here with the hardline twisted track. These oil derricks next to it. I also really liked how this train travels around the entry here. Now and finally here's the main drop of the log flume. This probably also is the station here. Not really sure. But yeah, definitely a very interesting ride. I think he did a great job with all the scenery and the decorations in this entry. Yeah, this is just a mind theme done right. This is just really nice to watch, and there's just lots of stuff to discover here, lots of little details. So yeah, you could, by the way, you can download all these entries for yourself. Just become a member on my Discord server. The link is in the video description. Discord's completely free, and then when you go to the contest archive, you can download all these entries and also all the ones from previous contests. Okay, here's the entry from Snack Time. Now, he said he had some personal issues, that's why he couldn't finish the entry like he wanted. But I think the stuff that he did manage to put was actually quite nice. Now, you can actually see in some points of the map that he was in a bit of a time crunch. Because, for example, these two halves of these two map edges are not decorated, but these two are. Yeah, I actually kind of like when people decorate their map edges. It really makes them look a little bit more special. Now, a big mix of buildings here. Personally, I think these buildings look a little bit chaotic. I prefer them more, yeah, to have more or less the same style. But yeah, definitely big interesting mix of buildings here. For the Log Flume, yeah, there's a big lift hill here in the beginning, then there's several drops and turns, and then finally here it drops off. There's this big drop here. I like this path that goes over the drop. That's always a good way to add some interaction. And then here finally there's a rotating station here. I actually kind of like the location of this station. This looks pretty nice. The coasters do arrive in the station while still going quite fast. But yeah, I think overall this is quite a nice entry. Nice job. Okay, here we have the entry from Skiffa. Now, for once he was actually quite quick with submitting his entry. Normally it's one of the last. But yeah, here we have his entry. It kind of looks like a sort of a water park. There's these 3 dinghy slides. Yeah, it almost makes you think this entry was made for a dinghy slide contest, because these 3 rides all have really bright colors, while everything else in the park's a little bit washed out. So yeah, I think they kind of steal the spotlight away from his Log Flume a bit. Yeah, I do think his Log Flume is quite interesting. I like that it actually uses green colored boats. Very interesting structure here for the main drop. Actually does the lift hill in 2 steps. And here it has the steep drop down at the end. Yeah, lots of nice looking buildings here. Big radio tower here as well. Some different kinds of rocks. Not really sure these crater walls go well together with these temple pieces. Oh, here's also a nice chairlift that actually passes over some of these rides. So yeah, there's just nice little rides everywhere. I also really like how he did the foliage. So not really focusing on trees, but actually on shrubs. Now there's also a road here. Personally, I was not really a big fan of how he did the road. Probably would have been nicer with some fences actually right next to the road instead of how he did it here. But still, overall, there's just nice stuff to look at everywhere in the map. And something that I always like is when people put these colosseums around these curves, like he did here. So yeah, nice job from Skiffa once again. Okay, then we get the entry from Tim Burbank. Now, Tim Burbank always makes really wacky entries. I think this one's a little bit more realistic. Well, if you ignore the big drop that he made here, at least. This is just a huge drop for a Log Flume. But yeah, this Log Flume just sprawls throughout the map. Big station here. And what I like about the station is all the spare boats that he made here. And also some boats that are just chucked here. That look like they're just chucked here right on top of the platform. A bit messy. But yeah, that looks that actually looks pretty cool. Yeah, something I really liked about this Log Flume is actually how he did the turnarounds. So the boat, for example, here goes backwards into this track, then it turns around, and then it goes forwards again. So yeah, as usual from Burbank, lots of big structures using a lot of the expansion objects. Here's another building with the turnaround where I actually used the 3D cinema. My favorite part of the map was actually this tiger that he put here. There's one of those tiger vehicles, and every now and then it just pops out of the wood here. I think that's a really cool trick. That's definitely something I'm going to use in future maps. Oh, and of course, here something else that he did that's actually really cool is he actually made a lift here. So there's these coaster cars that slowly travel upwards. And the Log Flume boats, they reach this part, and then it looks like they're dragged up by the lift here. So yeah, that's also, I think that's also a really cool touch. Okay, here's the entry from Saffie Adam. Now he made this Log Flume, which actually for a large part of the track has this shuttle coaster passing right next to it. And this powered coaster is actually has a few points in the track where it reverses direction. Now actually it probably would have been better if he actually put some brakes right before this reversing section for the coaster here, because the coaster arrives here at full speed and then just instantly goes to 0 speed and then reverses. That probably would hurt quite badly. We can probably see it in action later. Yeah, as for the Log Flume, I really like the way it looks. I think it looks really nice with this watercolor as well. Yeah, and also these supports for the Log Flume. I think they're also done in a nice way. Oh, yeah, here you can see the coaster. It reaches the end of the track, instantly stops, and then it goes backwards again. Really put some brakes here next time, because this probably would be pretty painful. Here's the other reversing section, and basically the same thing happens here. That's definitely something you'll want to avoid. But still, I think he did a really nice job on the foliage here as well, also on the queue paths. I think all the paths in the park look nice and interesting with this wooden texture, kind of like checkerboard pattern. So yeah, it just looks nice and warm and inviting. So yeah, really nice job from Saffie Adam. Okay, here's the entry from Lurker. Now he made this entry to look like a typical starter town from an RPG. So it just looks like a nice and cozy village. Lots of different buildings with different colors, different shapes. I think that's something that he did really nicely. Yeah, it just looks like a really cozy town. Of course, there's also the Log Flume which travels through it. Now, I think he did a nice job decorating the track with this wooden coaster track over here. Also here for the final drop, he gave the drop a nice shape with a steep part first and then a less steep part. Yeah, also this path right next to the splash section, just to give the guests a nice view of it. So yeah, it's just really nice and cozy. Also, there's a ship flying around in the sky here. I think he did quite a nice job on this ship. So yeah, this looks really nice and cozy. Not much track texture to be found in this entry. You don't often see a Lurker use track texture, but yeah, I think for these buildings it's also not really necessary. I think this is also a really good usage of the OpenRCT2 official roofs that were added, since they were allowed in this round. So yeah, just a really nice and cozy entry from Lurker. Okay, here's the entry from Manticore. So he made this big sawmill. So here's the Log Flume, the stations over here, and yeah, the Log Flume travels back and forth through this layout here several times. Now, one thing I really like is how he did these conveyor belts. I think they look really good. It's kind of like what you would see at a real Log Flume. Also like how it wraps around this drop here. One thing I didn't really like about this map is the colors that he used. Personally, I don't think these colors are very inviting, especially this weird green, yellowish color for this building here. Also this this red, yeah. I'm not really a big fan of the used colors here. And also for this part of the Log Flume, it's all above each other, and yeah, it's kind of hard to actually follow the Log Flume through this section here. But I am a big fan of all the decorations he put around it. Yeah, it's supposed to look like a sawmill. I really like these gears here. It kind of looks like there's a saw blade above the guests here. There's a burner here. So yeah, I think he did a really nice job at that. Also, one thing I really liked was this shooting game Dark Ride that he made here. So there's just these junior coaster cars that gently travel through this layout, and you can see all these targets here right next to the track. Apparently the guests can shoot these as they travel throughout the track layout. So yeah, it's a very nice entry, I think, although it is a little bit messy in this area. Okay, here's the entry from Bear. Now, this was one of my favorite entries. I just love the way he did the scenery in this map, and also the Log Flume looks amazing. Well, one thing he didn't really do well, in my opinion, is that he didn't actually synchronize the boats well, or desynchronize them. So they will just travel through one another here. So he actually has I believe he actually has a dual loading station, you can see that here. And also a dual drop for the, well yeah, a dual main drop here. So half of the boats will go over the right drop and half of the boats will go over the left drop. CP6 recently made a tutorial video where you can actually see how he did that. So yeah, if you do this, it's usually a good idea to actually desynchronize the boats, because these boats are separate rides, so they will actually be able to clip through one another, and that's actually what you saw when you opened the map. Now, besides that, I think this entry was amazing. I love all the big buildings that he put here. He decorated them really well. I also love this Viking helmet that he put here. So yeah, this was definitely one of my favorite entries. I love all the track texture that he put to beef up the track, and this drop through this ship here, I think it's amazing. Okay, here's the entry from Dogs. Now, he made this big Log Flume, fully made with splash boats track. Well, yeah, definitely interesting support structure that he used for it. Yeah, he just used a lot of these poles and beefed them up by putting more of them. And he's really consistent with it. And the support structure just looks really good throughout the map. So I love the way, for example, he did the queue here. Yeah, it's an entry from Dog, so he always decorates the outside of the map with these nice rock layers. Now, he also made his first shoestring, I believe. Here you can see air gear. It's like a spinning wild mouse thingy. So it just travels around in this circle while the cars will be spinning. So yeah, that's a really cool ride. I just love the way he decorated all of the stuff around it. You can see some of these guests sitting under these umbrellas. I think he did that in a really nice way. So yeah, there's just really nice decorations everywhere. There's lots of stuff going on. Just lots of little shows everywhere. There's Panda Pam, Tony the cereal slinging stepdad. Yeah, just funny stuff to look at everywhere. So yeah, I think that's really the key to making high scoring maps. Just fill them with fun stuff everywhere, and make sure that everywhere you look in the map there's just interesting stuff to look at. Now, other than that, I think he did a really nice job on the track texture here. There's just pipes everywhere, like you would expect on a water ride. Also these gears here kind of look like motors or pumps or stuff like that, just to keep this ride running. Okay, here we have the entry from Phoenix Wing 101. So yeah, she made this huge Log Flume in this kind of like a Egyptian themed area. Lots of temples here. And of course this big pyramid. Now, one thing I really like about this map is how she actually put some of these pyramid pieces a little bit higher and put some of these these wall pieces in between. Yeah, I think it definitely makes this pyramid look more interesting like this, with some extra layers in between. And the station is also under the pyramid. I think that's also pretty cool. Now, personally, I'm not a really big fan of these large straight sections here. It would probably be pretty boring to ride. What I did like was this, so it looks like there's a track going straight ahead. But actually the boat turns around and goes to the right here. And then goes backwards. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. And finally here there's this big drop that goes out of this temple here. So yeah, interesting scenery. Also some nice, some nice interaction here. For example, with the big splash and the path going over it. Just cool decorations everywhere. I also really like this catapult coaster that she made based on my tutorial. This is a really nice work. I love the queue in here in the middle, for example. That's just decorated in a really great way. So I like this seating area right next to it, with a nice view of the loop. Only thing I thought was a little bit weird was this swinging ship that's just out here in this area. Probably would have been nicer to actually have it here on the inside somewhere, in a more visible spot. Okay, here's the entry from Makket. This was one of my favorites. Makket just made a really nice little log flume here. And it just really, it's not a big log flume, but it just has such nice little details everywhere. There's a dual loading station. This lift hill, I think it's decorated really nicely. Makket actually used the dinghy slide lift hill for it. I think that works actually really well for these boats. Just a really nice way of layering for these tracks. Actually has some bobsleigh track under it here, and also some wooden coaster track here. Yeah, there's just nice decorations for the track everywhere. And of course here at the end there's also this dual drop, like we also saw for Bear's entry. Also really like the way Makket did the station here with these gears on top. Kind of look like air conditioning or just big fans. But yeah, just really nice decorations throughout the map. Something that's also really cool is that Makket made this cutout, this coaster here. And yeah, it's actually a working coaster, so sometimes you suddenly see a coaster train appear here, and then it travels through the layout here, and then finally it disappears here again. So it actually has some mini golf track to make it teleport into the ground here. Also to make it teleport from the ground here. Here it disappears again. So it's actually underground here. But yeah, that's I think that's a really cool trick. I would definitely recommend more people to do that in the parks if they have a cutout of a bigger coaster in the park. Also a really nice looking building here. It's really cool decorations throughout. So yeah, once again a wonderful entry from Makket. Alright, in fourth place we have this entry from Swarmat and Swag Titties. Now, actually when they handed it in, we found out that they actually had their map size of 37 by 37 tiles, while only 35 by 35 was allowed. So their map was actually too big, so they had to shrink it. So that's actually where some details that they had to be compromised. This coaster actually looked much better before they had to do the change. They actually had a transfer track here. Also some more ruins which it passed through here. A little helix above the water. So yeah, that was a bit sad. But their Log Flume, which the contest actually about, wasn't actually changed. And I think the Log Flume looks really nice. So it just travels slowly travels up the mountain here, and then finally here there's this big splash. They actually put some smoke here by crashing some vehicles here, just to make this fog here. And I like how you can see the Flume pop out here again from under the path, and then goes underground here. But yeah, that's I think that's some really nice interaction here, and some really nice viewing lines. Yeah, for the guests all around to actually be able to see the Log Flume. Also, some really great buildings all around the ride. These buildings look really nice. What I probably like most about this park is all the different ways they did these fences, even the diagonal ones. I think they did those in a great way. It's probably a mini suspended coaster track diagonal. Must have taken quite a while to make all these fences here. I think they did them in a great way. So yeah, this is really cool work throughout the map. Even some backstage areas here. That's just really cool. So yeah, I think they did a great job at these entries. Okay, there's just 3 entries remaining, which all got above a score above 9. I will show all 3 of them, and then afterwards I will announce which one is the winner of the round. Okay, here's the entry from Milpian Olfomboot. There's this amazing huge temple here that they made for this big palace. This just looks fantastic. So I really like this ride here that they made that goes around this double drop here. Now again, it's one of those log flumes which have a double drop. So also a dual loading station here, as you can see. So yeah, several of the boats go over the left track here, left drop, and several will go over the right drop. Now this castle which I traveled through, I just love the way they did these roofs here. And yeah, the entire structure of the building. This just looks amazing. It's just full of nice details here. Really nice mixture of layers, of walls. This is just incredible. Also really like the way they did the roofs for these buildings here. Kind of made it look like a dome roofs. But still, yeah, just really nice decorations everywhere. Love this bridge, this diagonal bridge that they made here. Yeah, some arches here which the guests walk under. Yeah, there's just so many nice details throughout this map. I cannot possibly cover them all. So yeah, for sure, be sure to download all these entries for yourself from my Discord and go check out this map for yourself. There's just so much to discover here. Actually, one of my favorite things in this map is this Ferris wheel they put here with these coaster trains traveling around it. Kind of makes it look like this is the thing that's actually driving the chainlift here. But yeah, like I said, just too many cool details here to mention. Definitely go check out this entry for yourself. Great work from Olfomboot and Milpian. Okay, here's the entry from Emil and Enochs. No, not as doesn't have a big wow effect like the previous entry did, but still this is technically done in a really nice way. First off, I just love the overall look of this map. The landscaping is done in an incredible way. I love how they mixed all these volcano pieces with all these trees and gardens and plants. Yeah, the landscaping, the foliage, I think it's done in a brilliant way here. I love the look of all these buildings, especially the Colosseum here under this turnaround. That's just done in a really nice way. Now, something I also really liked is this coaster that they built here. It's kind of a strange coaster because it has this it's like a floorless coaster, but actually uses the Schwarzkopf track or the Premier coaster track. But still, it's probably not a very realistic coaster, but I just think it looks incredible. So first there's this big drop here, then it goes up again under the Log Flume, and then here there's several loops. Now the station of this coaster, I think it also looks incredible. I love how the loops, yeah, but how it passes in between these buildings, between these loops. So yeah, this is just a really nice coaster, and I especially love this part at the end where it travels over itself with this corkscrew. So some nice custom supports here as well. Yeah, as for the log flume itself, no, I like how they used the dinghy slide track here for these lift hills. Also here at the end there's a drop with a little airtime hill. I think the log flume is just done in an incredible way here. It's just so nicely decorated and it's situated in the landscape in a very nice way here. One other thing that I kind of liked in this map was that actually the DKMP love boat here. It's actually stuck here in place with a guest who keeps rowing. Apparently the guest is Duckling and the other person in the boat is Amy. Both quite angry. Yeah, I would also be. Alright, yeah, this is just an incredible entry from Emil and Enochs. So there's just one entry remaining. Okay, here's the entry from Scorpion. Now at first glance you may be thinking this just looks very grey. But yeah, it's just a big inside area for this map. Now first, yeah, this kind of looks like how a big building would look in a real park. So at the front you will see a beautiful facade. And the actual roof of the building will usually just be a big flat area. Lots of air conditioning and stuff like that. But yeah, I think this looks amazing, especially the facade of this building. It's just a really nice mix of buildings, but still it looks cohesive. This is just incredible to look at. And yeah, you will just see lots of cool tricks here being used throughout the facade. Also really like the way he did these planters with this mini golf track. Kind of makes a really nice circle here. Yeah, so here you can actually see some parts of the log flume. Now, the outside part of the log flume actually looks incredible. I just love how he used these wind sculpted pieces here. Yeah, I think he did that in an incredible way, also with some waterfalls in between, stuff like that, rivers, just tons of nice decorations right next to the track. But we can actually also look inside of here. So let's use the cutaway view. And then you can see that the inside of this building is also fully decorated. Lots of TNT right here next to the track. A big spider web here. Then if we go a little bit lower, yeah, there's just so much to see here. Here's a cave with lots of crystals and bones. Yeah, there's just so much cool stuff here. It must have taken quite a while to decorate all these inside areas. And he just did it in an incredible way. It even looks like there's a bit of a staff area here. So yeah, this is just a large focus on realism. And yeah, this is just an incredible entry. This is probably one of the best things I've seen in OpenRCT2 recently. Alright, then it's time to reveal who is the winner of the Log Flume contest. The winner of our 20-second contest, the Log Flume contest, is... Scorpion! So yeah, actually this last entry that I showed was also the winner of the round. I think Scorpion did an incredible job in this entry. I just love how he decorated the outside, but also the complete inside of this building. Yeah, it's just really incredible how he did all this. But yeah, lots of really great entries in this round. Yeah, I just love seeing all your creations. It's incredible to see what all of you guys could do with a log flume. Okay, the next contest will start in several days. If you want to join, you'll have to become a member on my Discord server. You can find the link in the video description. Discord is completely free, so don't worry about that. Yeah, I just hope to see many of you join in the next contest. Alright, I hope you enjoyed seeing all these entries, and yeah, I hope to see you again in the next video. See you later.